What was that?
Perfect. You want to be that guy?
Wow.
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 Wow. Friday.
Wow. It's funny.
We are here.
Wow. Good morning,
Amazing
everyone.
stuff. Good morning.
I'm the Data Lord. This is Jaime. Welcome to Decentralized TV. This is Crypto and Coffee. We talk about crypto. We drink about coffee. And we read the crypto news. And, hope everyone's ready to go. So when I
Let's
say
go,
what's
baby.
up to my boys in the house, Indo, I see you, brother.
Good morning.
I'm indeed not rested yet. I slept like very little, but I will this weekend.
Yes, it was fun last
No.
night. You just got to think about it the next morning. Good morning,
Yeah,
boss.
Boston,
Don.
what's up, brother? I see you. What's up, Just Bossy, just behind him? I know you're there. What's up, girl?
Man, this is good things, guys. Is Bitcoin is performing as programmed, guys.
Hey,
It's
girl.
beautiful. It's beautiful. So this Friday we will cover all this information and more. Keep your eye on the ball. Never turn away from this industry because it is going to dominate. This is the next level. We all must be aware of AI and Bitcoin. It really is Bitcoin. Everything else that came out of Bitcoin is
Follows
what will be
pattern.
coming. Yep. And
Yeah,
I will have to respond
Bitcoin
to
sets
this.
pattern.
Yes. Go ahead.
I was just saying the Bitcoin sets the pattern. So, yo comprende. So let's whip it out real quick. Wapa. Everyone understands it. So we have I mean, just taking a phone call. Don't you worry about it. So Bitcoin's been crushing it, dude. Like if you weren't in this trade, man, there will be another one. Don't you worry. But I got some bags, whatnot, and I put them into some altcoins. I'll talk about that in a moment. But in the last 24 hours here, we got Bitcoin 1.3% on the week, though. We're down 7%. That's okay. That just means that we retraced people locked in their profits. Ethereum really just copycatting. It's the little brother, dude. I'm telling you, it's just copying what Bitcoin's doing. XRP still bullish on the news. We got a little bit of news with that, but down 9% over the week. Just means we had a bull run, and we have Solana pumping at 4.6%. So really what I think this is on Solana is we're seeing Bitcoin gains getting sloshed over some other things to pump some bags. That's kind of what I'm feeling. And I'm driving. I'm going to be diving in AI this weekend. Finally got some free time. Should be fun. Yeah. There's a lot of good resources on how to form your prompts. I think that's probably the biggest investment you can do is just find out like how to better word your prompts in order to get what you're looking for out of it. But yeah, we've been using it for a lot of things that are quite useful, like getting business contracts and that type of thing written up, and really, really cool to do that, mind you, to get templates that you then tailor and make what you want them to be. But anything that has like patterns and reproducibility, AI is really good at because it can just understand the patterns and the relationships and then build a standard. So
yeah, and it shortcuts you big time.
Yeah.
We're using it internally for quite a few tasks that sometimes you would ask someone else to do. This can actually do the reasoning for you, and then you polish it off, and it's a perfect result.
And really, I want people to think of it that way. Like, think of it as it's doing a lot of like the legwork that a personal assistant would be doing, and then you're still polishing it. Like the CEO doesn't just hand stuff off to his personal assistant and say, "Yeah, whatever you make is good. Just send it." No, he says, "You go ahead and draft this up, put it on my desk." He does what he needs to, and then he says, "Hey, can you go and mail this off?" Right? So you treat it kind of the same way. Treat it as something you're tailoring. So look, I'm gonna kind of start doing something a little bit fun and a little bit different, and that's okay. I'm gonna show you a few trades I'm currently looking into. Whether I'm making or not, you'll never know. But because I don't give financial advice, but what I do is I will be transparent as to kind of how I'm thinking about some things. So this is my Bitcoin chart on the short, right? really that this is what I'm thinking is going to be happening. I think these are on the 1 hour, and Jaime doesn't trade very often on the 1 hour. He trades on a much longer time frame.
I don't do cocaine.
Yeah, yeah. I'm over here with ADHD medicine, so it's cool. So let's go. But really, I think we're retracing. I don't feel good about locking in a really big trading position. But again, if you're going to zoom out and look at like the 1 day, if you're DCAing, it's fine to DCA here.
Yes, agreed.
Just a swing trade is probably not. Um, it's. I'm feeling like we're going to retrace down to. I don't know
I'm with you. I'm with you,
exactly, but
Data Lord, and I will support you on precisely what you just said.
yeah. So I'm refreshing instead of changing tabs. Good job. You did it. You did. No. So this was a trade I was really paying attention to, and I don't need this being straight up like that. So clearly we saw like an entry point right around 27, because bang, 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 bang. We're just banging our head on it. So I'm like, all right, that's clearly a support level at this point. And so I was like, all right, we can enter this position because bang, we bopped it again. I was like, that's perfect. I see a little confirmation that we're unlikely to keep going bang, 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 bang. We're probably going to bounce off that here. So I picked up a position there, wrote it up to here, traded it. It dipped down again, picked up that position, traded it again.
Well
so
done.
so
Well done.
that's dope, right? Because
Yeah.
you got the replay. I'll get all up in there for you. Again, these are hour candles, so like you're not ignoring this chart. You're like paying attention to it, right? But entering here, yeah, we go up and down, no FOMO, no big deal. We go up, profit take, this
Yeah.
big old dippy down right to here. Enter another position because it's again bang, bang, bang. We're smacking that support level, right? Wrote it up to near resistance. Now, mind you, I know up here is where people might look at this chart and be like, "Hey, that's where you should capture profits." No,
No.
here's why. Because there's no volume there, dude. Like if you come down here, all of this volume is available to you that you could have captured
Yes.
into. So it's better to lock in profits
Yes.
at like -5, -10% of what the top is.
Yep.
So
And
that way you really lock it in. You don't get pushed out
the
of the
most
position.
successful traders do not catch the very tippy top or the tippy the bottom. They just don't. This is the method that Data Lord just gave us is you lock it in, you lay out the plan and act on that plan. Just because it's going further up, okay, lock in your profits where you planned it, and you
Yeah.
feel it's going to continue. Leave a little bit up there for gravy, but if it's lost, it's lost. So,
Right.
Brandon, that's great strategy.
Yeah, and if you're gonna play the game where you just keep like upping your stop loss, and so you're like, look, if it keeps going, I'm good, but if it dunks,
Yep,
I'm safe.
correct.
That's a good strat, but that does require a lot of like maintenance on the exchange, and most people aren't willing to put that time in because it's easy to fumble the ball too. But anyways, so that's Bitcoin. On a swing trade, if you're interested in playing with that, there is a site that I was playing around with that if you look in our Discord, I put on there. I'm trying to, and it maybe Jaime, maybe you know this, but I'm looking for a really good site that has like the ability to do paper trading. I
Oh,
found one that I liked. I know tradersofcrypto.com is the one I was looking at, but
yeah.
I'm gonna play around and find the best one because I want us as a community to start playing around with that tooling and see if we can't kind of have like some friendly gaming competitions for like who can make the best trades in a time frame. So
Yeah, and
uh,
everyone invited to participate
yeah,
on paper, and it's a friendly competition. So,
yeah, you might
truly,
even
our
win
mission
something. I might even throw people some merch or something. I don't know. We'll see.
and the goal is to learn, guys. So even if you don't win, I promise you, you
Oh,
learn
you'll
from it.
win.
Yes,
Even if you don't win that game, you win the real game, which is real money.
exactly, precisely.
So as far as I'm looking at this, I have all these levels in gray. This is just my own marketing. I lock my own marketing in. I'm tripping right now. It's ridiculous. Gray
Friday.
lines are support and resistance levels for me
Mhm.
on my charting. The green lines are entry points or exit points, and then I use these long and short positions in order to mark out what I've actually entered into. I won't tell you how much, and then where I exited, and I won't tell you how much.
Yes.
But either way, that is the trade conceptually that I'm putting in, right? So we're clearly testing this next gray support, so 29 180. If we don't hold that, we're gonna go lower and go lower, going to lower. So I'm really looking for this to go to lower lows. That doesn't mean it will, but I'm looking for that entry point, right? I'm looking
And on
for
the
it to
high
do
time
something I
frame,
didn't expect it, right?
and on the high time frame, I can give you clarity because we're at the end of the month, guys. It's the end of the week, end of the month, all on Sunday. So it's a very, very important day. And this price action that you see now,
Mm-hmm.
you can almost forecast what's next, all depending on how it closes on Sunday around 8 p.m. Eastern, 7
Right.
p.m. Central.
Exactly. So Um, this is, by the way, Polygon Matic. It's at an accumulation level, and I'll show you that on the day. On the day, you see how we have quite a bit of support right here along this box. So this, for my estimation, do what you're gonna do, but in this specific box, for me at least, that's accumulation phase as to how Polygon's shown me it behaves, right? And so we're dipping into that from an hourly perspective, right? This is the hourly. You see everything under this little green line here, in my view, is accumulation. And we dipped into it here, and then we really dipped in it here. So for me, I did pick up a Polygon Matic position, and here is really how I'm looking at, the trade. If I go to the 4 hour, you can kind of see what's going on. So, I'm looking for it to hit somewhere around here because we have a ton of precedence for it to hit that general level. It could hit higher. Uh, the way I typically do profit taking is I'll do ladders, and Jaime does this too, where he'll say, "Yeah, it's very likely to hit here, but it might hit here and here and here and here and here." So he'll just create a whole bunch of sell orders that are kind of stepped. And so if it goes boo, big old green diller through the roof, then he catches a little bit of all of those instead of just gambling on maybe hitting his one and only position. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
Beautiful.
so really, from my view, everything under 1.058, I'm looking at as a accumulation position, and then anything that's over 1.18 to 1.22, I'm looking at as profit taking. That's a 20% trade. So whatever money you put
So,
in, if that were to land, that's like around 20%.
so
So
on this screen, if you grab the bottom of the red section and shrink it up to where your stop loss would be, which is near that spot you mentioned where it would invalidate your theory, there you go.
mm,
That's the way you always want to have your risk to reward chart here, where your risk is very low compared to the odds of you making
got it.
income. So that's how it should be. Your red space, if it's a short or long, the red
Mm,
space should be very small
yeah.
in terms of the odds in your favor. So in this case,
Mhm.
Brandon doing his research realizes we're in that stage where people are buying up. So the odds are in the favor of this rising over the next few hours or day.
Right.
So that great, well done.
Yeah. So I'm sharing all these, by the way, in our Discord. So if you go into our, if you're not part of the Discord, link in the description, but in our Discord at the very bottom, we have trading. There's BTC and altcoins. And so I know Turbo's really active in there, but we also have me dropping some stuff. So if you want to join the party, enter some positions, do some TA, and hang out with the homies while we're waiting for gains, that's cool. Let's go. And then the other position that I was looking at, and maybe I screwed up how I'm showing it. Yeah, I did screw up how I'm showing it. That's very cool. I'll show it later, but it's a Doge position. We are entering accumulation on Doge for my analysis. And I will show you that real quick. This isn't my markup though, But this is Doge over the US dollar. Typically, the way I actually look at Dogecoin, though, is Doge over BTC. But because the US has adopted Doge as a meme coin, there's some action that happens on Doge over USDT. And then there's also some action globally that happens Doge over BTC. So I don't want you to forget Doge has been around for a while now. And so if you want to look at historical patterns, look at Doge over BTC, and you can look at some of the older exchanges. For example, if you look at the price action on like Poloniex, you're going to get much better history on Doge than if you're looking at Binance US, because Binance US like pretty recently popped it on, right? So you're going to miss a ton of the history if you're not looking at like Poloniex as an exchange. But yeah, maybe it'll show up here.
Yeah.
But either way, we are truly getting into that accumulation zone, and I want people to kind of have eyes wide open with that. Like if I go out to maybe a 4 hour, you can really see that. Like, so this is the big 4 hour. You see this huge wedge here, and then bang, 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 bang. That's support, right? We're below support right now, and so the way Doge tends to behave, it's showing us right now we are in this accumulation band after we had the Elon enter the chat, right? So,
Yeah.
and even before then, and I've talked to people about this. Like if we go before Elon entered the chat with this big old dill boy, and you look at the history of Dogecoin, and these are days, by the way. This is when it first came out, but if you ignore that first part, it runs on a sine wave cycle. It looks like a heartbeat. Boop, 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 boop. And so this one right here, we actually skipped that sine wave on the sine wave cycle. And because it skipped it, it had an even higher high the next time it actually went.
It's like a coil. You held it longer, boom, it pops.
Right. Well, it truly is a coil, because people who are mining with L3 miners, they're mining Litecoin and Dogecoin. And so yeah, if they're accumulating Dogecoin, they have it. Like that's the mechanisms that's causing this. It's the Bitcoin halvings, the Litecoin halvings, and the fact that big miners have a ton of Dogecoin and they use it for moving things in and out of exchanges for really low transaction costs, right? Because Ethereum gets clogged up. Bitcoin has had times where it was slow and expensive, and that's okay. It's meant to be a store value, right? Not cash. The Lightning Network fixed a lot of those problems, but you see what I'm talking about when I say Dogecoin runs on a sine wave cycle. It really does. And so, yeah, we had this big event over here where Elon entered the chat. All that did is it raised the floor, right? So you can almost think of that entire pattern we previously saw repeating. So now we pushed reset. It's still on a sine wave cycle, though. You can see like the spacing between these is relatively standard. It's like April 2022, June 2022, August 2022, September 2022. It's like 2 months apart each time. And so knowing that and looking at this huge coil and that we're getting in this accumulation zone, from my analysis, it looks like, for me at least, I'm okay picking up any position in here and just riding it until it's going to hit any of these levels. Because with meme coins and with the way that Elon likes to handle just even mentioning some things, if you have a position, it's really easy trading typically. So this isn't financial advice, please hear that, but this is how I'm looking at these charts, and these are positions that I have personally put my money where my mouth is. So if that's helpful to you, at least just to hear how I'm rationalizing it, I'm glad. If not, that's too bad. Jaime, you want to go over Bitcoin real quick?
Sure, let's do it. And no, I think everyone's happy to share, because Turbo has his style, you have your style, I have my style. So for our community to actually participate in it, I'm totally 100% for it, because then each one of our community members, Boss Don, Just Bossy, Indo Crypto, all of us will figure out, oh, you know what, my style is more because of my family obligations. I have to go a lot higher time frames, or I have the time to do my day job and watch the screen. Then you can do day trading also. So it's just learning the principles and then leveraging your style of lifestyle in terms of trading and time frame. So back to Bitcoin. Here's where we're at. Bitcoin, just like before, we're like, okay, it's dragging across the 200 below. I'm on the weekly time frame. And remember, this weekly time frame ends on Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, which is 7 p.m. Central. And that will define where we are next. So and for the culmination is the monthly. So the most important level that I'm going to show you is the monthly, how we close the monthly. But for now, we're looking at the lower time frame, which is the weekly. We're seeing that ever since we broke through the 200 weekly moving average, which we had not closed below in its Bitcoin's history, now that we broke through it back above it, we have not really tested it as support yet. So if Bitcoin closes below this high right here, the 30,000 by Sunday, it is more likely that we will come and test that 26,000 level where Bitcoin currently, the 200 weekly moving average is at. And thus I put this red hand, and it's been there for weeks now, I think since January, because it's such an important level for Bitcoin. Now, that is that accumulation zone that Brandon has been showing us. So it is very likely we will tap that if we do not close above this 30,000 level by Sunday. Now, let's zoom out to the monthly, and this is critical. So here we go. This level, which I've had marked here for months now, ever since we broke down from it. What is this level? This is the level that Bitcoin broke during the bull run and tested it on a monthly basis as support. It would come down, hit it 3 times, finally broke down once the bear market began. And now this is the second time actually we attempt to cross it. So we tapped it the first month when we broke the 50 into this level. This is the 50. It took 50 months to draw this green line. So you can see how important it was that we came to it and closed above it, well above it, just below the 21 moving average. So 21 months to print this yellow line. So we're at this point at that ceiling. And if you notice, let me zoom in here. You're going to see we are slightly above it today, Friday. It is important. It's sitting at around 28,980, or let's say 29,000 if we want to round it up. If we close above 29,000 by Sunday, so remember on the weekly, we're looking at 30,000. And on the monthly, we're looking at 29,000. So within that range, we're good. We're good. That means that we are now into that ceiling, that very heavy ceiling. We could run up to, let me look at that number where we're at. If we close above it, we should see by next month a run up to around $32,000, $33,000 for Bitcoin. If we close below it, if we close below 28,900, if we close below that, it is very likely we come and test this as support, 24,606. Very likely. On the weekly, that would mean we are, let me move to the weekly. We would first tap 26. So it's 26,000 on the weekly and 24,600 on the monthly. So that's the range. Now, where is this? The 50 moving average on the weekly is 22,300. So we have 3 layers of good support. The most important one on the low time frame is this 200 moving average. So 25,900 is the first level we can look at for a nice little bounce. And then the other level, we could see a nice bounce in. Oops, I just flipped this over.
It's a
Yes.
terrible song by Britney Spears. Yeah.
24,700 is the next level we can look at for support. Otherwise, it is the next level we would see could be 19,700. Not very likely, but yes, it is possible.
Yep.
So never discard it. But if we could see that 19,500 as the wick, violent wick below before we continue running up. But we first have to break those three levels I mentioned just now. So it's looking, Sunday's going to be an exciting time, meaning, okay, now can I do a short for Bitcoin so we can test these support levels? Or if it's above, don't long yet. Just now watch where Bitcoin will go before we reach a ceiling. So that's where we'll look at Brandon for the lower time frames on what's next. But it is very bullish. Now, one thing, never long at resistance. We're at resistance at this moment, so don't risk it. And rule number 2 is Bitcoin. If you see another bank fail over the weekend, like it's been happening, trust me, Bitcoin's going to run up. So if you just keep your eyes open for any news of a major bank, you can almost bet it's going to run up slightly.
Yeah, and just to let you know too, how even in my own experience, Bitcoin looks bullish on like the longer time frame. My low used to, if you were to ask me, hey, what do you think the bottom of the bear market is going to be? And I'll say, hey, I think we're probably going to touch 16, maybe 12K. That's what I tell you. But at this point in time, if you were to ask me that question, I would say, I don't think we bust below 19. I think that's the new floor, strangely. And Jaime just gave all the reasons for why we think like that's more likely than a 16 or a 12 at this point. But we've basically had the floor of where we see the general market raised to that 19 level. So
yes, 19.5. Now, think as a contrarian too.
yeah.
If you want to clean the slate and take all the lettuce hands Bitcoin, I would yeet it to the bottom as far as I can, where it creates a panic. And then this pig, I mean, only the DCAers and the hodlers will win in this instance.
Yep.
So
Just wait till Jim Cramer says you should buy and you'll know
done.
you should wait and then you should buy.
That's right. Whatever he
He's
says,
gonna tank. He's gonna tank the damn stock.
Yeah, if he says I just bought Bitcoin for the first time, guys, shaking your boots because something bad's coming.
Yeah, you're about to fill thine pants. Gundy, I see you, brother. What's up? He says old resistance could be the new support. Yeah, that's
Precisely.
real talk, man.
Yep.
Lovely Friday with everyone. Let's get into our stories for the day, shall we? So Jack Dorsey, the guy who made Twitter, aka Jack Dorsey, snaps a Bitcoin mining chip as Intel winds down production. So we've been looking at this. We're actually in line with Intel, with a few people we've worked with to get the Intel ASIC chip.
Yep.
So Intel entered the chat for GPUs, one, that's rad, and for two, for ASICs. So it looks like stateside, Intel's trying to decentralize, and I love this. They're trying to decentralize the production of important computing chips like graphics cards and ASICs. So
yes, and the big boys have been from China in the last few years, which is Bitmain. So the Jack Dorsey's move, and we've been watching this Intel chip, like the company who has been leveraging and testing is Hive Blockchain, one of the oldest mining organization that Fidelity, institutional investor, has been investing in them. Their mines have been in Iceland and the Scandinavian countries, and the performance has been really well. So the fact that Jack Dorsey now snaps it up. So it seems that Intel was winding down the production and Jack Dorsey saw the opportunity because now American made.
No, you're not.
Exactly. And it's
I got
interesting
money.
because
Yeah.
we're in the mining industry and we couldn't get a hold of this. I knew these guys were, Hive Blockchain was deploying it and they were assembling it for themselves. But I don't know why they didn't open it up to the rest of the market. So Jack Dorsey, great move, man, because we will be knocking on your door for this production so we can keep it stateside also.
I think I do know why. I think the bigger reason is that uh, being in a bear market right now, a lot of people didn't have the money loose to give the okie doke because these Intel chips are more expensive than Bitmain because they're not at the same scale that Bitmain is, and they're not using Chinese labor to create them too. So uh, I think there's a few things that make Intel's a bit more expensive than China's, but um, being that most investors aren't willing to throw big money at a more expensive chip in a bear market is, I think, what's happening.
Yep.
But let's read this, shall we? Thanks for that background there, Jaime. I think everyone
sir.
appreciates that. Jack Dorsey fintech payments company Block recently bought a large number of Bitcoin mining chips from Intel, which will accelerate its plans to enter the mining hardware market just as the chip maker winds down production. The purchase will help it bring mining machines to the market as it focuses on developing its cutting edge 3 nanometer. That's really small, by the way.
Yeah.
And just so you know, TLDR on the why this matters. The smaller the chip, the more efficient the chip. And so the smaller it is, heat gets more complex as you get smaller. So you have to get into things like immersion and whatnot to get that heat to come off. But the efficiency of the chip increases substantially, especially per footprint. So as these chips get smaller, and this is true for CPUs and GPUs as well, as the nanometer of the chip gets smaller, you're seeing the efficiencies of that chip go, skyrocket. So 3 nanometer is a really nice size chip. Intel has set a last date for the production of its Bitcoin mining application specific integrated circuit in ASIC. So for those who don't know what this means or understand, an ASIC is literally a computer board that has different chips on it that are running discrete circuits. So what that means is there's no software running on this. It's just like old school computers where it's literally logic gates. It's things saying on and off, on and off. If this is on and this is on, then send it over here and turn this one on. If this one's on and this one's off, send this one off because it didn't meet both criteria. It does mathematics and that level of understanding, right?
Yep.
And so because of that, it is extremely power efficient to run algorithms. And so the idea here is that you can stuff a algorithm, or I'm sorry, you can stuff a number into this. It'll run it through the algorithm and give an output for the least amount of power available, right? As opposed to if you were to put this into a CPU, which has a lot of software on top of it, it will run that, but it won't do it as efficiently because it's not application specific. It has to use software in order to handle a lot of the calculation, and so it'll get beat with a baseball bat compared to an ASIC for how many times they can make those computations per minute, and then 2, how much power it takes up. So ASICs are what people do at scale once it's been proven to be something that's going to be done over and over and over and over and over again. Right now, you're watching this probably on YouTube, and there is video compression that these video files go through ASICs at Google. It'll go through their ASICs to compress the files and send them to you, where your computer on your CPU, the software there, will unpack that compressed file and present it to you. And so that's why like the file quality isn't the same on YouTube as it is on like a Blu-ray because it's compressed, but it's still good enough that you're watching it all day long, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's another use case for ASICs, just to give you some background if you didn't know. So as it discontinued the chip, it announced in February 2022. So Block recently jumped on the opportunity to buy a large quantity of these ASICs from Intel.
Beautiful.
It said in a Friday blog post, the firm was planning on finalizing its design of a 5 nanometer chip for Bitcoin mining this quarter and build machines based on that.
Okay, good.
So they're not the team.
Yeah. I was concerned that they were going to get out of the business. No, they just got a newer version. So
Right.
Jack Dorsey picked up. Oof, well done.
Yeah. Um, so the purchase means the team can focus exclusively on the 3 nanometer design. So basically, what Jack did is he bought the old version and said, "Hey, keep making the old one. I will buy up a whole bunch of them, and you can use that as funding to build out your newer one, and then we'll buy a bunch of those when those come out."
Yep.
And so he's bridging that gap.
Some of the numbers we're seeing were 15 to 35% better than
Yeah,
existing ASICs in the market with the Intel chip.
efficiency.
Yep.
Yeah,
So well done.
yeah. Terahash per joule is
There you go.
the parameter. So
Getting sweaty nerds here now. Let's go.
yeah, I mean this is our area. So the anyways, the nanometers in chip design refers to the size of each transistor. So millions of which are packed together in a chip. And so when you look at a computer chip, this is Brandon giving commentary. When you look at a computer chip, there's a lid on it. And if you were to open that lid up, you would see all of these little transistors and whatnot underneath the hood on that, right? And oftentimes they're laminated in different layers. That way they can fit a whole bunch of, almost like an apartment building. You can
Yeah,
fit
it's
like,
like a building inside.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can fit, 4 families here, 4 families here, 4 families here, all the way up 200 stories, right? Which is sounds like you live in Bali if it's 200 stories high. But that's kind of how a chip functions. It's a whole bunch of if you got a breadboard, and we're playing Raspberry Pi games, like you could basically build out a really small version of this. It would run like crap because it's
But at least you get the concepts,
not done
that's
at
the
scale,
idea. Yeah.
but they use really crazy computers and robotics to
Mhm.
at a micro level, almost nanotech level, go through all these crazy processes to build our chipset. It's really insane, actually. People are
It's
incredible,
beautiful.
but yeah, the smaller the chip, the more power the chip has. So
Mhm.
the smaller the transistor, the more can fit on the chip. You hear that? So it can run more calculations, making a more powerful chip. And also, the smaller the chip, the more chips they can fit on one piece of, you know,
Yes.
substrate. So
That's why our
you
phones
can,
can do what they do that
right.
computers could not do just 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's just because we keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Mhm.
So Block's first party products will come early next year, said Thomas Templeton, Block's hardware lead, in an interview with CoinDesk. Asked about the quantity of chips they bought, he said it is enough to bridge the time until they can design and productize their own 3 nanometer chip. So
Nice.
Block said it aims to improve the decentralization of Bitcoin, of the Bitcoin network. And Jack Dorsey's been really vocal about wanting to do exactly that.
Yes.
He's been talking a lot about, like, look, Bitcoin's different. It's not like other things.
Yep.
And if we don't invest in it now, we can't expect it to take care of us later. And so we really have to make sure that we protect Bitcoin because it's special.
Yep.
We
He's a
need to
builder,
make sure
guys.
we truly decentralize Bitcoin and keep it from being hijacked by bad actors, because it really is freedom tech. And he said that in so many words over and
Yep.
over and over again.
And still says it. And by actions, he's putting where his money is to do this, to accomplish this mission. Well
Right.
done, Jack.
Put your walnuts on the table.
Hell yeah.
So when it comes to the main problem, or when it comes to mining, the main problem is the diversity of manufacturing and supply chain,
Yes.
said Templeton. We want to make more tools for more people to build and use. And so this really is what we've seen too. Like,
Mhm.
so during the COVID supply chain thing, where China exporting things to the US was really getting interrupted, that dramatically exasperated our bear market. It really did. It put our bear market deeper and more dark than it needed to be, just because people who were even mining Bitcoin were like, dude, we're already in a bear market and you're going to throw us sideways into this, like, you know, dystopian where we can't even get things off of port in China. Really? Okay. So, and that's what was happening though. It was really, really difficult. So, the less we have to rely on things crossing the ocean,
Right.
the better for production. And that's true. People in Asia can buy things that are produced in Asia. People who are in Europe can produce or buy things produced in Europe. People in the States can buy things produced in the States. So even if the outsourcing and exports becomes complex because of geopolitics, the Bitcoin mining infrastructure, which is not political, will continue unfettered, is the idea.
Precisely.
The mining manufacturing industry is dominated by two players, Bitmain and MicroBT. And I'd say more so Bitmain. MicroBT is a small fish compared to Bitmain.
And MicroBT. So Bitmain is, they have their manufacturing. It was in China, but they've exported it down to Southeast China, Southeast Asia, because of the government going against the
CCP
production.
policies.
CCP policies. Now, MicroBT actually opened up a plant here in the States. It's still Chinese owned, but it's here in the States where they're assembling this. So it's great to see a third one with American made chips building out. So it's creating diversity in the market competition, really. And we know that competition is very healthy. So there isn't any when you dominate an industry, you can charge what you want. We've spoken. We actually
Price
have
fixing.
suppliers. Yes, price fixing, and also where they're using the technology, and then when the new generation comes up, they keep that technology for themselves to test, but they're doing it at scale. And then the generation that they're now eliminating, that's what they're selling to the open market. So it gives them an edge. So it's not fair competition if you think about it. If you really want this community to take off, you manufacture, deploy as quickly as you can so the market stays resilient. So by Jack Dorsey's decision, it truly is creating competition and an opportunity for stateside build.
This is a big story. It really is. So in March, Block announced it was working on a mining development kit, which will allow other engineers to create products using Block's chips. This will provide developers with a suite of tools to unlock innovation in Bitcoin mining hardware, the firm said. Block is open sourcing this technology and wants the community to contribute to its development, which is why it announced the kit, Templeton said. So
that's beautiful.
This is really rad.
And bringing the community, open source, guys, that is a game changer. The other one, it keeps it close to its chest and no one can build on it. So well done, Jack.
Done. I'm really into this article here. But so let's look at our next one. We're going to go over our headline here. So we've been covering how Coinbase has been going back and forth with the SEC.
And by the way, that's what a Chad looks like, guys, right there.
Armstrong's a Chad, dude.
He's a Chad. He really is.
He's like, dude, I didn't get this far in my career by being a coward. Like,
yes,
he's like, this is good and reasonable, and you're going to talk.
Precisely. And long story short, guys, that Wells notice. Remember, and we've mentioned it, but for anyone who hasn't watched or has been following the show, Coinbase has been around forever, almost since the inception of Bitcoin, and they have been the on-off ramp to fiat to Bitcoin, and they've been working with the SEC for years, and now adapt and develop and open up the doors for everybody to adopt crypto and Bitcoin specifically. And then out of the blue, ever since Uncle Gary Gensler took over, now they get served a Wells notice, which means lawsuit against them and money lost because of this lawsuit. So it's like they're slicing by small cuts, draining blood out of the industry. Gary has. So this article is a beautiful response to the SEC's, or Gary really, response to him with a Wells notice.
And no, you're absolutely right. Coinbase is one of the Dirty Shovel Gang badge. They're standing up, and so looking at this, Coinbase CEO finally responds to the SEC Wells notice. So Coinbase has been the talk of the crypto industry in April as news of its potential headquarters relocation from the U.S. headlined many platforms. The crypto giant had looked into the relocation option due to regulatory scrutiny and lack of clarity from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC. In previous efforts to get the needed clarity to operate freely and offer crypto services to their U.S. customers, the U.S.-based crypto trading platform asked the SEC for reasonable crypto rules and regulations for Americans. This move made by Coinbase was met with legal threats from the regulator and a Wells notice.
Can you believe that? Guys, people should be put into positions, any power position, to serve, to protect, to help, not do this shit right here, which is bully.
It's bullying. It really is. This is abuse. But as Coinbase, or as reported on Coinbase's official blog, the SEC issued a Wells notice last month to the crypto company after it solicited for reasonable crypto regulations to serve its American users. The Wells notice issued by the SEC pointed fingers at an undefined portion of the company's listed digital assets, its staking service, and other solutions such as its wallet and earn feature. Coinbase received the notice with utter disappointment and said that its crypto exchange is confident in the legality of assets and services provided to its users and customers. A report made last month by the crypto company stated they are ready to go through a legal process to provide the clarity they've been pushing forward to the SEC if necessary.
Yes.
So the CEO, Brian Armstrong, responds firmly. As of April 27th, 2023, the CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, the chief legal officer, Paul Grewal, provided a video and written submission in response to the SEC Wells notice issued against the crypto company. In the submission, Armstrong made firm statements saying that Coinbase is the same company as they were 2 years ago when the SEC approved their operations and are going public. He also stated that even without regulatory clarity, they have tried to do the right thing and demonstrated good faith as a crypto exchange and trading platform. In
As
his
a
message,
client, yeah.
yeah.
As a client, I attest to precisely that. I've been a client of theirs, and yes, they're working for the industry.
Well, and they profit if the industry goes up, so they have a vested interest just to do right. So, in his message to the SEC, as seen in the video submission, Armstrong said that Coinbase is willing and committed to working with the regulatory perimeter, and the crypto company would want to see a clear market structure for trading crypto securities. He concluded by saying that at this stage in time, where there is no clear rule book for crypto operations, a Wells notice from the SEC is not constructive. Ooh, he spanked their pee-pee. Bah!
Yes, precisely.
And is not good for America. Bah! He even played that card, which is true.
So this way and then this way,
So he just said, one, you're not constructive to business, and two, you're not good for our country. You're not good for the country,
which is true, guys.
It's true. Yeah, it's a fiscal.
All our intellectual people will be leaving this country, including with Coinbase and other industries, because
at least working remote.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah,
no bueno, no me gusta nada. Armstrong said they would prefer and welcome a true dialogue with the SEC, but if push comes to shove, they are prepared to defend their position in court. So they're not playing around. They're telling them, dude, this is the line. You can come and be diplomatic and make peace, or we're going to drag you through the mud and show everyone what clowns you are. So careful who you mess with is kind of the attitude I'm seeing from this. So
yep. Good.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let us know what you think of that in the chat. I'm excited to see it personally. I feel like at very least we have someone representing our interests.
Yep.
Just to live our lives freely without being told how we're going to do that. So our next story here, Zcash, latest software release goes live. So in case people don't know, Zcash is a fork of Bitcoin that was done in such a way that it emphasizes privacy, right? So consider this a privacy coin, kind of like Monero, where it just makes it really hard for people to track what the exact who sent who, how much for how many dollars, right? That whole chain. It's on the blockchain, but it's hard to read. So If you want something to be done privately, you don't want, let's say, your mom knowing that you bought, you paid
Is that what you
someone,
use your allowance for? Yes,
you
Mom.
paid $6,000 for this hoopty. How dare you? Yeah. So we're
We
a
do need
Honda
privacy
family.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So the new release version 5.5.0 is part of an effort to deliver a solid and reliable user experience. And so they're realizing, yeah, if we want to distinguish ourselves in the space, we just need to make it feel good to the person using it, and not just be used by someone who's incentivized to be private. So Zcash, the popular privacy-focused blockchain, released a new version of its full node software. And full nodes are used to for
Process trend.
development.
Yep.
Well, not necessarily. Mining is how that's happened. A full node is a piece of that. So a full node has the entire history of the blockchain. You can use it as an RPC query, so you can use it for your application to basically say, "Hey, how much money does this wallet address have?" And it'll read that back without. And you can ask it as many times as you want because it's your node. You can hit it as hard as you want. Um, and so they're making that easier and easier to deploy so that they have more copies of the blockchain all over the place, and also they are incentivizing people to host their own nodes for privacy use. If you really want to be private, you will host your own cryptocurrency node and make your transactions against your own cryptocurrency node, because then you're not including a third party in the transaction, is the idea. So a lot of people do that for Bitcoin, actually. According to a post by its creator, Electric Coin Company, it's a cool name. So they did bug fixes, they fixed the fee mechanism, and they laid the foundation for fund availability features, looks like. So they introduced several bug fixes, proportional fee mechanism, and laid groundwork for useful functionality in the future. And anytime you see a application in crypto doing this, they're focused on, like, how does the person using this experience it? They're really focused on growing. They're listening to the community's feedback, and they're implementing and doing something about it. So whenever you see that, you should think in the bullish direction, because they're incentivizing people to come use their tools, right?
Yep.
Proportional fee mechanism is a policy that ensures fees paid for transactions fairly reflect the corresponding processing costs incurred for executing those transactions. A key upcoming feature is fund availability, which gives Zcash users the ability to spend funds before a wallet is fully synchronized. That's super cool. So basically, whenever you're synchronizing a wallet, it takes a freaking long time sometimes. And some people are specifically installing it because they're just trying to send a secure transaction. So what they're doing is they're letting people host more nodes, and in a shorter time frame get back to why you were installing the node in the first place. So this is pretty rad, actually. So the Zcash protocol continues to be our primary focus at ECC as we work to exit emergency mode and deliver a solid, reliable user experience, the post states. And so when you hear this happens in tech departments quite a bit, where most tech departments and even programming teams, they operate in this mode where they're just trying to keep the lights on. They're constantly putting out fires, and they're not doing things because they should be doing things. They're doing things because they have to do things, right? And so that's called being reactive. When you're in a reactive posture in a company, that's a dangerous place to be, because you don't have control over where your ship's going to go. Your goal is, hopefully the ship doesn't sink. Your goal is not, let's make sure the ship gets to the shore we're intending to go to. And so once you get out of this emergency mode, it really is important to work with an architect, take a big step back and say, what are we trying to do? Where are we trying to go? How are we going to get there? What things don't work? What things do work? And how are we going to move our resources around to accomplish these long-term goals? And so that's what I've done most of my career, is help companies figure out how to get out of this emergency mode and get into this, like, intended shoreline, right? You hear the term shore this up. What that means is we're intending to really define what we're trying to do, where we're trying to go, right?
Right. Yep.
So yeah, huge article there. I'm feeling good on Zcash, so don't be surprised if I let you know on an entry point we may have soon, because when we're at this point in the bear market where people are starting to think about, are we out of the bear market yet? That's where you really want to pay attention to a lot of these altcoin positions, because this is the sweet spot where you can scoop some things that end up being very, very worth your time.
Yep.
So at least historically. So and this is our last article for the day. Bitcoin's about to rally. The U.S. government holds an urgent bailout talk for First Republic Bank. I don't like this stuff, man.
I know.
Another bank bailout.
Yep.
It's good for Bitcoin, though, so maybe I do like it. Who knows?
Yes. It's just terrible to see legitimate businesses, families, and everything that rely on the bank get their value taken from them. That's what sucks about this. And then cronies getting saved because they're too big to fail or too important to the system to fail.
Yeah.
Despite their, I'm off my soapbox. Sorry, guys. But yes,
no
Bitcoin
bueno.
is good for Bitcoin in the end.
Yeah. Of course, we want people to behave upstanding, but if they don't, we'll take it. We'll just swing trade it. So breaking news, as Reuters just reported, U.S. officials are currently coordinating urgent talks to rescue the troubled First Republic Bank, or FRIC. Freaking FRIC. For Bitcoin, this could mean rally time once again if history repeats itself as it has in recent weeks.
Yep.
Already on Tuesday, BTC experienced a sudden rally after First Republic Bank released its quarterly report with devastating numbers. Oof.jpg. Thus, the narrative that first surfaced on March 10th repeated itself. After the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Silvergate, news of a bank failure served as a trigger for several upward moves in Bitcoin. And First Republic Bank could, and you shouldn't start a sentence with and, First Republic Bank could be another argument boosting confidence in Bitcoin and eroding trust in the banking system. So this is why Bitcoin was created. I love this. As private sector efforts led by the bank advisors have yet to produce an agreement, U.S. officials have now apparently intervened in the situation surrounding First Republic Bank, Reuters reports. According to 3 anonymous sources, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, nice, the Treasury, frickin' FDIC over here, the Treasury Department and Federal Reserve are said to be involved in the talks. I swear these guys are like on whiteboards and they're like,
yeah. Come up
they're
with
like, like people are going to say this on TV.
And they do.
They do. Authorities reportedly began scheduling meetings with financial firms to organize a bailout in recent days. Remarkably, a bailout could again take place over the upcoming weekend to mitigate the impact of the traditional finance system. According to Reuters, anonymous sources, the government involvement is likely to help bring more parties to the negotiating table, including banks and private equity firms. However, the U.S. government reportedly favors a deal with the private sector, but engagement is still not out on the question, or not out of the question. So, U.S. officials believe a private sector solution would be better than placing First Republic under FDIC receivership, according to the sources. And please hear this. I always support a private solution. If you can get private parties to get solutions, you should. We're in discussions with several parties about strategic options as we continue to serve our customers. Meanwhile, the FDIC Treasury Department and Federal Reserve have remained silent, of course. Why would they talk about it? They have swing trades involved in this, so it seems. So that's the TLDR on that story. We're going to keep our eyes on this because it's going to keep developing and it's going to change our Bitcoin price action. So for everyone trading Bitcoin and looking for really good entry points, I'm telling you this is going to happen. But yeah, well, so anyways, thank you so much for joining us today. I just want to show you a few things that are pretty important. This is the SEC fails and bails of 2023. So this is just the SEC crushing it. So thank you for joining us here on Friday, Crypto and Coffee on Decentralized TV. We hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. We'll let you know if there's anything big deal that happens. We'll report on it. But If not, we'll be here Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Please join us in our Discord. We're really trying to get that community popping off more so we can hang out together throughout the day and just provide more and more value for everyone. But we'll let you know what happens. Oh, that guy rolled his ankle so bad. Oof.
Dude,
You like
that's a pretty
Oh,
flexible, thick boy. You know, it's pretty
wow.
agile.
The SEC is so impressive. Look at this.
It really is. They
Do you
still keep
believe they
trying.
do this stuff and they do
No, but
finance?
this dude's trying. He's trying to do the right thing. SEC is nuts. I don't
Well, no,
think
this
it's
this
fair to
is
this dude to be
no.
compared to the
This says
SEC.
best of SEC fails and bails 2023. I don't know. It seems legit to me. So, anyways, let's jam out to the weekend and hope everyone spends some quality time with their family, gets well rested, and hits this next week rocking. So,
Have a great weekend, everyone, and watch Sunday's price action. Let's see where it closes, and you'll know what happens in May.
who are you people? Why are you like this? I don't know.
It's morbid.